Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We are momentarily waiting for a press conference from the Two Rivers Police Department about the missing 3-year-old. The active amber still going on right now for Elijah Vue. He is 3 years old. He was last seen a week ago. My name is Brittany Schmidt. I'll be taking you through. We are standing by here for the presser. Let me pull that up for you. In Two Rivers Police are taking the lead on this, but we know that state investigators are involved. We know the FBI is involved as well. While we're waiting here, let me just get you up to speed on where we are at today. Search continues for Elijah. People were out, organized searches, looking for Elijah, yelling his name, looking for 3-year-old Elijah. He's described as 45 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. He was last seen, we are told, through a criminal complaint on last Tuesday in the 3900 block of Manitowoc Road. We do see that we have authorities now there. Let me bring you in.
Right, I'd like to welcome everybody here to Two Rivers, Wisconsin tonight. My name is Dan Hartwig, Manitowoc County Sheriff, spelling my last name Hartwig. We served as public information officer for this press conference for the Two Rivers Police Department this evening. From the time he went missing, everyone has been working tirelessly to find 3-year-old Elijah. He is our #1 focus, and finding him is the top priority of every single law enforcement officer, volunteer, member of this community, and his family. We have brought in some of the best people in the country over the past week to find him. We want to thank all of our law enforcement partners, specifically our local law enforcement, Division of Criminal Investigations, FBI, local volunteer fire departments, private search and rescue, community search groups, local businesses for food donations, and Wisconsin sheriffs for providing a multitude of resources to our search for Elijah. Tonight you have a couple speakers before you. First up will be Chief Ben Meinert of the Two Rivers Police Department to provide an update on search efforts over the past week. We'll also have 2 members of Elijah's family who will also speak here tonight. Some things I want to let you folks know as well. When the family comes up here to speak, they're going to be stepping off to the side once they are completed. We respectfully request that you do not film them after they are done speaking. The chief will have about 5 minutes for questions after everyone is done speaking. He will not speak about the current situation involving Katrina Bauer and Elijah Vue. Most of that is already in the media, and they're currently in custody in the Manitowoc County Jail. When asking questions, we ask that you raise your hand and state your name and which news organization you are with.
Thank you all for being here this evening. My name is Ben Meinert, B-E-N-M-E-I-N-N-E-R-T. I'm the Chief of the Two Rivers Police Department. A child missing for any amount of time is everyone's worst nightmare. That's why we're here today. Elijah, a 3-year-old boy, has been missing now for a week today. For the past week, we've utilized hundreds of resources, worked around the clock in our attempts to bring Elijah home. Right now, I'd like to bring everybody just up to speed with our search for Elijah and how that went. Elijah was reported a week ago today, like I said, around 11 a.m. in the 3900 block of Manitowoc Road here in Two Rivers. Everyone searched for Elijah on that day, and I mean everyone. Our police department first responders responded out. It's not necessarily an unusual incident to have a missing child. Usually we find them right away. Nearly immediately we realized that we needed more resources. Every officer, including myself, was out searching that day for Elijah. When we needed more help, we reached out to the fire department and our Department of Public Works. Soon after that, we got some information stating that Elijah may have gone missing at 8 a.m. When we received that information, my assistant chief, Melissa Wiesner, She's a former lead investigator, and she's worked many child cases. I entrusted her, and I knew she had the wherewithal to reach out immediately to places like A Child is Missing, our National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. She put out numerous alerts, including missing and endangered alerts, ring neighborhood alerts, and local emergency alerts. That included an Amber Alert. I know there's been some question about an Amber Alert on that day and why. This child was 3 years old and was reported missing on a cold winter temperature day with only a blanket and possibly light clothing. And we knew at that time possibly 3 to 4 hours. I define that as endangered. I immediately reached out with the assistance of my staff to the Division of Criminal Investigation. This is not about me. This has always been about bringing Elijah home, and quickly. They led that investigation into his whereabouts with the support of our FBI. We also utilized almost any boat, UTV, drone, canine, and even National Guard helicopters to search for Elijah. Unfortunately, Elijah wasn't found. Following that day, we had a press conference. I know people were frustrated with that. I too was frustrated with that. We had a lot of misinformation going around on Facebook, through social media, and just in general. We felt it necessary that we had to lay out factual information of the case and bring everybody up to date to that point. We also established a tip line and got that out to the public at that time. That has been beneficial and crucial to this investigation and search. Since the conference, I have personally provided media releases daily, if not multiple times during the day, to bring our public up to date and remain transparent. Those leads, those investigations, everything we've taken as tips have led to searching our neighborhoods, searching all our waterways, aerial and foot canvases, both urban and rural, throughout Manitowoc County and even beyond. We've searched Wisconsin landfills and quarries, and we've even had additional leads in Wisconsin Dells. In addition to all those search efforts, I am aware of other investigations taking place. I can confirm Elijah's mother, Katrina Bauer, is in jail on charges of child neglect and obstructing. Katrina's boyfriend, Jesse Bang, is in jail on charges of child neglect. And I do know that Elijah's father has also been incarcerated at Oshkosh Correctional Institute in unrelated matters since 2023. I also understand that the public would like more information on those first two individuals I mentioned. However, I'm unable to discuss those matters because it is an ongoing investigation and I don't want to jeopardize those cases. I want to thank the various local, state, federal agencies, as well as all our fire and EMS and even those private resources that have helped along the way. Thank you to everyone in the community. They've provided food and drinks towards all these efforts, and thanks to all those private search efforts. On Saturday, we announced a Crime Stoppers Award of $1,000 for information leading to the location of Elijah, and have since provided other ways that people can donate here in the community or abroad. Currently, we have those established as coming to our customer service here at City Hall, our police department, and I'm also working on establishing an online route for people to do so. When that becomes available, I will reach out to everybody and let you know. Today, the FBI has now provided an additional reward up to $15,000 for information leading to the location and return of Elijah Vue and or the arrest and conviction of any individual or individuals responsible or involved with his disappearance. We have posters here that state just that. In addition to all those search efforts, Elijah Vue's family has been coordinating their own search efforts throughout Manitowoc County. They're here today and they'd like to provide a statement. I'd like to bring those members of Elijah's family out to make those statements for you.
On behalf of my family, we stand before you today with heavy hearts burdened by an unimaginable situation. The pain is indescribable, a torment no family or child should ever face. We cannot express the depth of our sorrow, nor the desperation that consumes us as each moment passes without news of Elijah's safety. To anyone who may have information about Elijah's whereabouts, we plead with you to please come forward. Your courage, your compassion, your willingness to speak up may hold the key to Elijah's safe return. Every piece of information will help bring us one step closer to bring Elijah back to our family where he belongs. To those who may have information, your assistance is just not a contribution, but a lifeline of hope. Elijah is a joyful and curious boy, full of life and love. He is a precious child who deserves every chance of happiness, and his absence is deeply felt by all who know and love him. Every day without him feels like a piece of our hearts is missing. We long to hear his laughter, to witness his curiosity, and to feel the warmth of his embrace. The emptiness left in his absence is a void that cannot be filled by anything else. Elijah, if you can hear us, know that you are deeply missed and loved, and we will not rest until you are safely back in our arms. Lastly, we want to express our deepest gratitude to law enforcement, government agency, and all involved in the search operation. The support of the community, the dedications of volunteers, the generosity of businesses, and the kindness showing through food and monetary donations, and so much more. We thank each and every one of you for your role in our search for Elijah. Please keep Elijah in your thoughts and prayers. And if you have any information, please come forward. We believe that with the help of the community, we can bring Elijah back home together. Thank you.
I talking English is not good, so and I want everybody to be patient with me. So and I just try that I can. So right now, I would like to thank you for everybody to help my family to search for my grandson whole week to today. So everybody know, right? We already hurt. So, and I want to thank you for the officer or all the fire department people, all the people living in two cities here, help to search for our grandson, our baby for 1 week right now. So, yeah, I really thank you for everybody. So, but right now, so I want everybody to continue to help us to look for my grandson. I want my grandson to be home with my family. So I want everybody to continue, don't stop, just searching for my baby Elijah. We want him to be safe and with my family, and we love my grandson. Thank you for it.
I'd like to thank the Vue family for being here. I have time for some questions. As the sheriff announced earlier, I won't be able to talk about the investigation of the case, but I will answer whatever questions I can.
Chief Emily Matesic from Fox 11. When was the last time someone other than Jesse Vang saw Elijah? What was the last time he was seen by someone other than someone who's arrested in the case?
Right, we've gotten that question a lot. I appreciate that question. What I will say is the reason that we've been seeking out to the public to request all the information that we are is because we are following up on every lead, tip, etc. And that is one of those things. You know, we want to know every time, anytime that Elijah was seen during this past week. So we will continue to follow up on all leads, any leads, and that's what's leading us into the locations that we've been.
What was the most recent, before he disappeared?
I can't comment directly on the investigation, but I can tell you that we are following up on all those, and we continue to ask for those.
Chief Rita Jones, Fox 6. Have you all
Hang on,
received,
just a second. Rita, go
Rita
ahead
Jones,
first.
Fox 6, Milwaukee, have you all received any information that indicates that Elijah is still alive, whether that be any surveillance or ring camera?
I'm not going to speculate on anything at this point, but what I will say is all our efforts are for bringing home Elijah safe. I believe that all our efforts thus far have done just that. We've reached out to hundreds and hundreds of resources over this week's time span, and they're all dedicated to bringing him home, and we'll continue to follow up on any leads to do so.
Chief Kendall Keys, WISN 12. Do police believe Elijah left that residence on his own?
Again, I can't speculate. I will say that, again, when we're talking about the Amber Alert that we put out, people wanted me to speculate on an abduction versus endangered. At this point, what I do know is a child was missing in cold temperatures, winter temperatures, in relatively little clothing and possibly a blanket. That's what we're searching for, and we'll continue to search for until I get some answers.
I know you asked for surveillance video. Has there been any video that shows him on his own walking, anything like that?
I can't comment directly on that. What I will say is if that is in fact the case, I know that we have DCI agents, FBI agents, and local police doing just that because we're following up on all tips, any tips that relate to Elijah Vue and his return.
Chief Perry, Apostolopoulos, NBC 26, you mentioned that there are search efforts in other parts of the state. Can you speak to what those have included? You mentioned here we've been searching landfills and waterways. You said that there have been searches going on in Wisconsin Dells. What have those looked like?
Well, I think what I can tell you is that you've seen and you guys have been broadcasting searches of landfills, searches of our waterways. We know that people have been out into the Dells. Those are all things that we're following up on leads on. Any lead, we'll leave no rock unturned. We're going to follow up on those leads because ultimately our goal is, again, we want to bring Elijah home. So it doesn't matter how small that lead or tip may be, please bring that to us. Contact our tip line because we will get people out there to follow up on any lead whatsoever. I think we're going to go back over here because he was asking earlier.
You had spoke about misinformation before. How does misinformation spread, specifically in this case on Facebook, hinder this specific investigation and then just an investigation in general?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
The misinformation on Facebook, how does that hinder an investigation, this one specifically, and just in general?
That in particular doesn't necessarily hinder the investigation. What it does is it hinders all the efforts within the community. Because again, our primary efforts here are to bring Elijah home safe. And if the public's getting misinformation, that's going to lead them awry. I want them to know the facts. Our department takes pride in remaining transparent here in Two Rivers, and that's why I'm putting out all these news releases. That's why I'm having a news conference with you today, is because I want the public to know the facts, just the facts, and be up to date with those facts so they can continue their own searches. We're appreciative of those. I'm also appreciative of all the resources that we're focusing on throughout Manitowoc and beyond.
Chief, can you talk about the toll this has taken on your
I'm sorry,
department?
can we take another question over here? I'd like to spread this around.
Samantha Cavalli, WBAY News. Have you been able to find any items that Elijah was last wearing? We have video of people collecting evidence, potentially might be that dinosaur shoe that was missing.
Right. I can't comment on exactly what has been taken or would not be taken. I don't know the investigation issues there as far as how that plays out. What I do know is that we're continuing to search for any of those items that you're talking about. So basically, you guys have all seen the photo of Elijah. We've mentioned that he may have had dinosaur print shoes, a red plaid blanket, and in the clothing description. We are still looking for anybody that has tips on any of that stuff, because we will follow up on it and we will try to figure out if it is related to Elijah Vue.
Where do you go from here? Is there still?
I'm sorry, can we go here? Last question?
Yeah, Chief Minor, Felix Oak from Local 5 News. A week after he's gone missing, how confident are you that Elijah is still alive?
Again, I'm not going to speculate. What I'm going to do is continue to search for Elijah Vue. We are doing everything in our efforts, believing that he is still out there. We will find him and we will bring him home. That's what we're searching for. And really, anybody in the community, anybody beyond, this is not related to just Two Rivers. This is abroad. So even outside of the Two Rivers community, I ask everybody in the state and beyond, really just start looking at your property. That's what you can do as a person not right here physically. If you're looking for something to do, first check your property, then get involved in some of these other search efforts. That would help us a great deal. And again, reach out to that tip line, come back to us, and provide us with any tips, and we will follow up on them.
Do investigators have a reason to believe at
I'm
this
sorry.
point that there's anyone else involved in this disappearance?
I was just going to read. I'm sorry. That was the last question. I will just close with, I'd like to thank you, everyone, for being here today. You've heard pleas from the family now. We echo those same pleas. Since our number one, our priority has always been, I keep repeating it, to bring Elijah home. I'm asking everyone to continue in their searches, continue to contact our tip line, report anything at all that you feel may help us bring Elijah home. Everyone has been affected by this deal, this incident a great deal. This is a close-knit Two Rivers community. We're all devastated. We want answers. You want answers. I know efforts of our city staff, our citizens, and those beyond our city limits are going to continue to work together, and we'll bring Elijah home. Thank you.
Will a representative from the FBI be able to answer any questions at all?
You just heard from the Two Rivers Police Department, the chief there. Let me hear
Conference,
the sheriff saying anything
again,
else.
we're making that plea out to the public. Everybody's seen that kid's photo. It's pulling at everybody's heartstrings. We need to find them. Somebody knows something. Just want to remind everyone, tip line, state tip line, we've received hundreds and hundreds of tips that DCI agents are following up on, FBI agents are following up on, and local law enforcement. That tip line is 844-267-6648. And as a reminder again, as Chief reiterated, there's a $1,000 reward out from our local Crime Stoppers for information leading to the discovery of Elijah. And now the FBI has stepped up their ballgame, which we have posters set up by them for $15,000 reward for anyone that has information leading to his recovery and or arrest and prosecution of anyone responsible for his disappearance. Again, thank you all for helping share our message out today.
You just heard from the Manitowoc County Sheriff there, a bit emotional there, talking about Elijah Vue and the press conference that just took place. So let me get you up to speed if you are just joining us. We just heard from the Manitowoc Sheriff, and then we also heard from the Two Rivers Police Department. They are still searching for Elijah Vue. That is the main message that we got here out of this press conference. They would not dive into the investigation to protect the investigation, but let me just walk you through what we learned here today, just to get us all up to speed. So we know that Elijah Vue has been missing since last week, a week ago today. He was reported missing in the 3900 block of Mishicot Road. He was reported missing by his mother's boyfriend, Jesse Vang. As soon as police got the call, they got the call at 10:59 in the morning, and they instantly started looking for Elijah. Let me pull up that new poster here of Elijah right there. And there is another one. All right, I'm gonna come back out so I can talk to you. So they are still looking for Elijah Vue. He was reported missing a week ago. They would not get much into the investigation, but they said that they are following up on hundreds of leads, of tips that they've received from the community, from family members, etc. They would not get much into the investigation, but the Two Rivers police chief did say as soon as they got that call at 10:59 a.m. a week ago today, they instantly started looking for Elijah. What they knew at that time, according to the chief, is it was a 3-year-old little boy missing from an apartment during the winter, cold temperatures. He possibly had a blanket. So at that point, it was all hands on deck. Eventually, they knew they needed more resources. They reached out to state officials. The DCI eventually issued an Amber Alert around 3 p.m. a Tuesday a week ago. An Amber Alert came down and it was all hands on deck. FBI agents responded, state agents responded, of course local authorities as well. And we also know that area police departments have responded with their dive teams, with their search teams, with their canines. The chief talked about how they utilized hundreds of resources, and we've seen it when we've been out there kind of following the investigation. We've seen the boats out on the water, the UTVs, the helicopters above, the canine dogs trying to find a scent for Elijah. The chief talked a little bit about, this is the first time we've heard from them since last Wednesday. They've been giving updates on Facebook to us about the search efforts. He says they're trying to be as transparent as possible. He says he knows people are frustrated. He knows a lot of people have a lot of questions, including the media. You heard there, they tried to ask some questions at the end there and didn't really get a lot of answers because it is an ongoing investigation. He says there's a lot of misinformation out there. He's asking people to not get tied into it, dragged into it. He says the facts are going to come from the Two Rivers Police Department. We know they are maintaining lead on this. The FBI is just providing resources. And he talks a little bit about the search efforts. Like I said, they've searched that general area. They've even expanded their search efforts. We know that today they were in the southern half of Brown County searching. We know that they've hit up a landfill over in Outagamie County. They've hit up the waterways in that surrounding area. So they've expanded their search and they're asking people to continue to search for Elijah. I want to bring in that tip line for you because they are mentioning that quite a bit. That tip line there is 844-267-6648. He says they've received hundreds of tips and they are following up on each and every one of those. He says that nothing is too small, so if you have any information about him, where he might be, what might have happened, to contact them. He plans to still update on Facebook to keep everybody updated, but like I said, they've expanded their search efforts. Let me pull up some video of some search efforts that we were able to be a part of. They've searched, a lot of neighborhoods, those waterways. They've searched quarries. They've searched Wisconsin Dells, which is where Elijah's mother, Katrina Bauer, has been living, and Elijah as well. So they have ongoing efforts all around the area. One of the things that the chief did not get into, and he was not going to get into, is the ongoing investigation with Katrina Bauer and her boyfriend Jesse Vang. They are currently in Manitowoc County Jail. They have been issued bonds, cash bonds. They still remain behind bars, though. They are charged with child neglect. They are both facing the charges. If convicted, they face 3.5 years in prison. The reason that they have been arrested and now charged is a little bit more clear in the criminal complaint that we got on Friday, and I can walk you through a little bit of that just to kind of keep you up to speed here a little bit. And today I did actively go through that criminal complaint to really figure out a timeline in the events leading up to when Elijah was reported missing last Tuesday. So let me walk you through that timeline a little bit. I apologize, I don't really have visuals. You'll just have to follow along with me as I look at them. So Elijah was reportedly going with his mom. So this happened back in November of 2023, around Thanksgiving. Elijah's mother, Katrina Bauer, had talked to her boyfriend, Jesse Vang, about Elijah's supposed bad behavior. That was back in November, and he told her, according to their criminal complaint, that she needed to do more, try harder to correct his behavior. And so fast forward to February 12th, about 2 weeks ago, Katrina met up with Jesse in Fond du Lac and handed Elijah over to him for disciplinary reasons. We now know what those disciplinary tactics that were used. They are both agreed upon by Katrina and Jesse. Those tactics included making Elijah stand for 1 to 3 hours without sitting down in a timeout. He was not allowed to sit. If he did sit, Jesse told investigators that he would threaten Elijah with cold water. He was also told to pray during that time when he was in timeout or say an apology to his mother. We also know that at one point Jesse was upset that Elijah had soiled his diaper to the brim and put him in a cold shower to clean him off. He told investigators that Elijah was clean, but he was afraid. A little bit more of that timeline. So during the week, Jesse had Vang on February 12th in Two Rivers. Elijah's mother was still in the Wisconsin Dells. But through phone records, they realized that Katrina Bauer wasn't being completely truthful with authorities about her whereabouts during that week when Elijah was with Vang. On 2 occasions, they looked at data from her cell phone to ping her in Two Rivers. And eventually she told them, yes, she was in Two Rivers on February 14th for some time before heading back to Wisconsin Dells. And then she was also in Two Rivers on Friday night. She got there late. She told authorities that she saw Elijah on the couch, that he was tired, and then she left early Saturday morning on February 17th to go back to the Dells. Then on Monday, February 19th, a day before he was reported missing, Vang told authorities that Elijah was still in timeout that night, that he changed his diaper around 8 or 9 p.m. Vang says he started to watch a movie. Elijah did not watch it because he was still in timeout. He was standing. That was his punishment, that he was getting pretty tired from it, he told authorities, but it wasn't like his legs were shaking. Fast forward to the next morning, so Tuesday, February 20th. Vang says that he got up around 7:30 in the morning. He woke up his other son, who was at the apartment, got him ready for school, got him on the bus. While he was bringing his son outside to the bus, he says Elijah was still sleeping on the couch in the living room. When he came back from putting his son on the bus, he says Elijah was still sleeping, and he closed the apartment door behind him. He said he locked the doorknob, he did the deadbolt, and he also did the chain to make sure that Elijah would not be able to leave the apartment. He says then that he woke Elijah up, they had breakfast, and then they went into Vang's room. Vang says that Elijah was in punishment, so he was told to stand at the foot of the bed and pray. And Vang says he fell asleep, and when he woke up around 11 a.m., Elijah was gone. So at 10:59 is when Vang says he called authorities to report Elijah missing. So that was around 11 a.m. By 3 p.m., DCI agents were already involved, the FBI, because an Amber Alert was issued. So that is the timeline of events that we learned from the criminal complaint on Friday. Now getting back into the investigation and the update today from the Two Rivers police chief. He says that they are continuing to follow up on leads. No lead is too small. No stone will go unturned. Looking for him. We also heard from Elijah's family. They have been putting on searches and getting out the messages, and they are so grateful for so many searches that we witnessed ourselves covering it. They said that they did this update with heavy hearts, as you can imagine. They said that the pain is just indescribable. They can't express the depths of sorrow, and you could see that anguish on their face, that desperation to find Elijah. They said they are pleading with everybody to please, if you know anything, to contact the police department, that tip line, because they say you might be the key to finding Elijah. They did have a message for Elijah as well, that if he can hear them, they want him to know that he's deeply loved, and they will not stop until they find him and bring him back home where he belongs. Elijah's grandma also talked. She thanked authorities for their tireless efforts. They also thanked the community for their donations, the food donations from restaurants, people showing up just to help search for Elijah. So the family also putting a repeated call out there to find Elijah. Going back to the investigation a little bit, we do know that the authorities are not talking much about the investigation. They did confirm that, again, that Elijah's mother, Katrina Bauer, is in custody, along with her boyfriend, Jesse Vang. He is in custody. Jesse Vang is the one that reported Elijah missing last Tuesday. They said that they did confirm, again, that we talked to a family member yesterday and confirmed it, but they did say that the biological father of Elijah is currently in an Oshkosh prison, and he's been there since 2023. From our online court record searches, it looks like he will remain behind bars until 2040. The chief kind of ended with, he knows people want more information. He knows that there's still a lot of questions, but he just can't give that out right now because he doesn't want to jeopardize the investigation. So once again, they're asking for any tips. Let me pull that tip line up for you so that you can see it here. So that tip line number is 844-267-6648. You can give that a call if you have any information. Again, nothing is too small. They want to know everything. They are also asking people to check their properties, check their cameras. They want to know every time that Elijah was seen during that week when he was in Two Rivers with Vang. We do know that the FBI is also upping the possibility of a reward. So last week, Two Rivers Police Department said that there was a $1,000 reward available to anyone who helped provide information that led to the location of Elijah or to suspects that would be involved in his disappearance. Well, the FBI just announced that they are upping that $1,000 reward to $15,000. So $15,000 you are eligible for if you have any information that leads to the location of Elijah, the return of him, or the arrest of those individuals that may be involved in his disappearance. Again, I just want to go over some of the questions that the media did ask the chief at the end. They did not take questions at their first press conference with us last Wednesday. So we thought, they would have a little bit more information to provide, and they did. But some of the questions that people wanted clarity on is, who was the last one to see Elijah alive? The chief would not get into that. He just said that we're asking everybody to keep their eyes open, give them any lead. They weren't going to get into that. Then another reporter asked if he is still alive. Was there any ring or doorbell video or any video that shows him alive after the time he was reported missing? Again, the chief said he didn't want to speculate. Their main focus is to bring Elijah home. They have hundreds of resources out looking for him, and they will continue to do so tirelessly. Another question that was there that was posed by the media, they wanted to know if there was any information that they could provide about any suspects involved or anything of that nature. And again, They would not comment on the investigation to protect the investigation at hand, because there is an ongoing one. Another reporter asked about some of the evidence that was collected. You know, we've seen video of a potential shoe that was collected. He wouldn't get into saying yes or no if it was Elijah's or not, so that remains a mystery at this point to us. But the chief just made it very clear that Elijah is still missing. He is their top priority, and they will continue to search for him and leave no stone unturned. If you have any information about Elijah's disappearance, here is that tip line again, 844-267-6648. Again, that is 844-267-6648. Anyone with information could be eligible for up to a $15,000 reward if it leads them to the discovery of Elijah or an arrest of those involved in his disappearance. We will return you now to Local News Live. Thank you for joining us for this first alert update from the Two Rivers Police Department. We will continue to follow this story and be forced to alert you to any developments on air and online. We will continue to follow the Two Rivers Police Department's Facebook page. That is where they will continue to update the public, and they are trying to be as transparent as possible. But again, that priority is to find Elijah. Thanks for joining us.